moment, not in haste, not with expectation, but with presence. For today, I will not give you answers, only mirrors, and in these mirrors, you may see something quietly magnificent, a sign that your soul is healing and that the karmic weights you once bore are being released. I've walked this path for many years. From the echoing caves of the Himalayas to the silence of forest monasteries, I've listened, not only to others but to the whispers of my own karma, and today, I will share with you for sacred signs that your karmic debt is being cleared and not erased by force but released by growth. Let us begin at the beginning. Sign 1. Emotional neutrality and old trigger shave. You noticed lately someone from your past reappears or an old situation resurfaces, but this time, there is no sting, no resentment, just silence inside. That's not indifference, that's evolution. When your soul has absorbed the lesson, the story no longer binds you. Like firewood reduced to ash, it can no longer burn you. I remember once, a young monk who had been betrayed by his closest friend. He carried that pain like a rock in his bowl for years. He avoided every path that reminded him of that betrayal. Until one day, he met that same friend on the dusty road to the village, and instead of hatred, he bowed. "Why did you bow?" I asked him later. He smiled, "Because he was my teacher in disguise." True healing does not erase the memory, it removes the charge. When this begins to happen, the karmic loop starts to dissolve. SIGNTWO. Unexplainable ease in areas you struggled with. Have you ever noticed, perhaps recently, that something which once drained you now feels effortless? Maybe you used to attract chaos in relationships, and suddenly, people treat you with calm respect, or maybe money, once elusive, flows in with peace and gratitude. This is not coincidence. This is karmic realignment. There was a woman who used to visit our monastery. Her life was a storm of scarcity. No matter how hard she worked, abundance evaded her. She used to ask, "Am I cursed, master?" I said, "No, but perhaps you are." Not yet open. Years later, after much inner work and silence, she returned not empty, but glowing. She whispered, "I no longer chase money. I've become someone money trusts." Her karma was not in money, it was in self-worth. Once that debt was repaid through self-love, life responded. So if ease is replacing effort, pause. You may have passed the spiritual test without knowing. Sign 3. A pull toward stillness and solitude. This one is subtle. When karmic cycles are active, the soul tends to seek distractions, noise, validation, or drama, but when the debt is cleared, silence becomes delicious. Solitude, a sanctuary. Are you craving more walks alone? More quiet mornings, more gentle disconnection? This is not isolation, this is integration. I once lived in a cave for 100 days, no books, no talking. Only the rhythm of my breath and the company of trees. In that time, the noise of past regrets, ancestral burdens, and future fears began to fade, like echoes lost to distance. When karmic weight is lifted, silence no longer feels empty, it feels full. It is the soul's return to harmony. So if you are feeling this inner stillness, bow to it. You are listening to eternity inside you. Sign 4. Synchronicities and divine timing appear more intentionally. The dance of the universe begins to move with you. You think of someone, and they call. You lose a job, and a better path opens. You feel led to a place, and a lesson waits for you there. When karmic blocks dissolve, the soul re-enters the flow. Life no longer feels random, it becomes rhythmic. Sacred. Carl Jung once said, "Synchronicity is an ever-present reality for those who have eyes to see." But it is not simply about chance, it is about alignment. I met a traveler once who told me, "I was lost for years, but now, I just follow the signs, they always show up." I told him, "You're not following the signs, you've become one. When you no longer resist life, you become part of its harmony." Karma is simply energy, returning home. And when the lessons are lived, the debts are cleared not by chance, but by transformation. So if you've seen these signs, even just one, perhaps you are lighter than you think. Perhaps your soul has walked far enough in the dark to finally meet the dawn. Do not rush to declare yourself healed. Instead, walk gently with this awareness. The karmic journey is not a ladder, it is a spiral. You meet the same lessons again and again, but each time from a higher place. This page of our journey ends here. But the conversation does not. In the next part, we'll explore how to consciously prevent karmic cycles from repeating and how to protect the peace you've worked so hard to earn. Until then, walk gently, breathe slowly, and listen. The universe is always speaking. Let us now go deeper, not into the past, but into what comes next. For to know that your karmic debts are clearing is a sacred realization. But wisdom is not in awareness alone, wisdom is in what we do next, how we walk forward. Now lighter, yet more responsible for the weight we choose to carry. You see, just as a river clears after a storm, your soul too becomes clear. But even a calm river must protect its clarity, or the next rainfall may muddy its depths once more. So today, I invite you to explore this question with me. How do I stay free once karma has released me? Because many will taste freedom, only to unknowingly recreate their own bondage. Lesson 1. Recognizing the repeating patterns in disguise when karmic loops end. Life often tests us not with punishment, but with echoes. These echoes look familiar, the same type of partner, the same financial fear, the same emotional pattern, but here's the difference: you're no longer in the same place. The test is no longer to endure, it's to choose differently. I once met a merchant who had escaped a long cycle of poverty through honesty and right effort. Years later, he was offered a shortcut, a bribe that promised great wealth. He came to me, uncertain. Master, I thought my karma with greed had ended. I told him it did. But now the universe asks not if you can make money, but if you will still choose integrity. Cleared karma is not a free pass. It is an invitation to live your lessons. Lesson 2. Choosing stillness before action. The moment your karma begins to dissolve, your energy becomes magnetic. People sense your calm, opportunities find you, doors open. But this is where most fall again into reaction. When you are clear, you must be intentional. Many years ago, I fasted in solitude for 9 days. On the 10th day, a traveler arrived, offering me a feast. I was weak and temptation clouded my clarity, but I remembered, sometimes when you're weakest, your strength is tested. So I said, I will eat, but not because it is offered. I will eat because it aligns with the vow I made to myself. You must understand, when karma clears, space is created, but not all that enters that space is sacred. Sometimes chaos dresses itself as opportunity, and true calm comes from discernment, not just silence. Lesson 3. Mastering the art of response over reaction. You've likely noticed, once your karmic wounds heal, you are less reactive. And that's beautiful, but here's the trap: some confuse numbness with mastery. Real spiritual growth is not that you feel less, it is that you respond with wisdom, rather than react with pain. A young novice once lost his robe in a storm. The next day, I found him barefoot, soaked and silent. I asked, why did you not cry or shout? He replied, because the robe is gone, but I remain. The robe was part of my path, not my peace. And this is the point, isn't it? Your peace must never depend on what life gives or takes. When your karma clears, you are no longer tossed by every wave, you become the ocean itself. Lesson 4. Anchoring in daily mindfulness ritual. Also, how do you maintain this clarity, this freedom in a world that is so loud? You anchor each morning before the sun rises. I sit. I do not scroll. I do not speak. I simply sit with myself. Why? Because the outside world begins the moment you forget the inner one. Your rituals, no matter how small, are your protection: a candle, a prayer, a moment of breath before answering the phone. These acts are not just habits, they are declarations. To the universe, I choose to stay aligned. When karma fades, noise will return to tempt you. Mindfulness keeps your soul's windows clean, so when the divine light enters, it is not distorted. Final reflection: are you choosing peace or just escaping pain? Some people confuse karmic release with escapism. They think detaching from others, from desires, or from the world is the sign of spiritual success. But true release is not escape, it is engaged peace. It means you walk in the world, but are not owned by it. You love people, but do not lose yourself in them. You have ambition, but are not chained to outcome. I often say, a monk is not someone who runs from life. A monk is someone who learns to sit fully inside it. If you find yourself at peace amidst chaos, if you can be still when provoked, if you respond with love where once you used to guard with fear, then, my dear friend, you are not only free, you are awake. You have come far, but there is more. In the next part of our journey together, we will explore the hidden karmic contracts you may still be carrying unknowingly, and how to break them without guilt, fear, or resistance. Until then, stay light, stay grounded, and always choose awareness over autopilot. Not all karmic debt is loud. Some of it hides in silence, some wears the face of love, some echoes in your bloodline. It moves quietly through family patterns, ancestral wounds, and soul contracts we never consciously signed. And so, here we are, in the stillness of this next chapter. I wish to speak to you not just about the karma you remember, but the karma you inherited, the karma you absorbed, and the karma you are finally ready to release. Let us begin. Hidden karmic contracts, the unseen agreements that shape our lives before we arrive in this lifetime. The soul, eternal and wise, chooses. It chooses the lessons. It chooses the people. It chooses even the pain, not as punishment, but as preparation. Carl Jung once said, the greatest burden a child must bear is the unlived life of the parents. And I have seen this time and time again in the monastery. People come not carrying their own karma, but the silent karma of their mothers, fathers, and lineages that stretch back generations. You may ask, why do I feel fear that was never taught to me? Why do I attract pain I never invited? Why do I dream of things I have never lived? The answer is this: you are living the echoes of soul contracts. These agreements are sacred, but they are not permanent. When your karmic debt begins to clear, you become aware of what is yours and what never was. Lesson 1. Awareness is the first break in the chain. A student once told me, "Master, I always choose partners who abandon me. Even though I crave stability." I asked him, "Whose abandonment are you still carrying?" He fell silent. Then he whispered, "My mother's father left when she was young. She never healed from it, and just like that, we saw it." He wasn't just choosing love, he was unconsciously trying to rewrite her story. This is what soul contracts often look like, trying to heal what someone else could not. When you become aware of this, when you see that the pain you carry is borrowed, you begin the process of karmic release. You are no longer a vessel for the past. You become the bridge, and then the ending of that story. Lesson 2. Ancestral karma isn't yours to solve, it's yours to stop. Too often, we carry the burdens of our ancestors as if they are tasks to finish. We believe we must fix the broken marriages, repair the shame, redeem the family name. But beloved soul, you were not born to fix them. You were born to end the cycle. A woman came to me once, heavy with grief. She said, "Every woman in my family has suffered in silence. My grandmother, my mother, and now me." I told her, "Then speak, break the silence. That is your offering, that is your freedom." She wept for hours. Not because she was weak, but because she was the first to feel safe enough to feel. This is what karmic clearing often looks like: one person who chooses awareness over avoidance, one person who chooses voice over silence, one person who chooses peace over loyalty to pain. Lesson 3. Breaking soul contracts without guilt. Sometimes the karmic contract is not with your bloodline but with a soulmate, a friend, a mentor, a twin flame. You feel tied to them in a way words cannot explain. They come into your life, often like lightning, sudden, beautiful, chaotic. But they also leave wounds deeper than anyone else. You think, how could someone who feels like destiny hurt me this way? And the answer is because they were here to awaken you, not to complete you. Not all soul that is the ultimate freedom, to live with an open heart and clean hands. You may not remember signing these soul contracts, but you are brave enough to break them now. Not with anger, not with rebellion, but with awareness, with gentleness, with grace. And as you do, the soul becomes lighter, the path becomes clearer, and the world begins to reflect your peace. But there is more still. In our next conversation, we will explore what happens after karmic freedom, how your soul begins to rewrite its destiny, and why your gifts begin to fully awaken only when karmic weight is removed. Until then, rest in knowing you are not bound by the past. You are the first of your bloodline to be free, and the future is waiting for your light. When karma clears, the silence that follows is not emptiness, it is invitation. An invitation to become something greater than you were allowed to be. While burdened, you see, the soul was never broken, only buried. And when karmic debt fades like mist in the morning light, what rises next is your truth, your essence, your gifts. You were never meant to live your life only healing. Healing was just the clearing of the soil. Now comes the blooming, the hidden gifts that emerge after karmasome of your talents, your insights. Your intuition, your creativity have always lived inside you, but like seeds in hard soil, they could not grow because karma, left unhealed, clogs the channel of your spirit. But when that burden clears, something happens that no book or teaching can fully describe. You begin to remember who you are, not as a role, not as a name, but as a force. Lesson 1. Intuition becomes a compass, not a whisper. When karmic loops are present, your intuition is clouded. You sense things, but doubt yourself. You feel a truth, but talk yourself out of it. But once karma clears, intuition becomes trust. No more overthinking, no more battling the mind. You simply know. I once knew a man who spent his whole life second-guessing. Then, after deep inner work, forgiveness, and solitude, he began waking with visions, clear insights about people, about choices, about timing. He no longer searched for signs, he became the sign. That's what karmic clearing does. It sharpens the channel between soul and source. What was once fog becomes a mirror. Lesson 2. Your voice begins to carry power. Have you noticed recently that when you speak, people listen? Even if you whisper, your words linger. That is no accident. When karmic debt is removed, your voice becomes clean, not louder, but clearer. Your words stop coming from pain and instead come from presence. There's a monk I trained with who said little in his youth, but after years of letting go, forgiving, and meditating on impermanence, he spoke once at a village gathering, only one sentence. But no one forgot it. You see, we don't remember volume, we remember truth. And truth only flows through those who are no longer trying to prove themselves. When you stop performing, your voice becomes pure power. Lesson 3. Your creativity begins to return. Karma blocks expression, not always dramatically, but in subtle ways. Fear of being seen, fear of failure, fear of judgment. But once the karmic fog clears, you find yourself painting again, writing, dancing, dreaming, not for success, not for fame, but because your soul must. A woman who once worked in finance came to live near our temple. She had always loved sculpting as a child, but life demanded practicality. After a year of meditative practice, she woke one morning and began sculpting again, not because someone told her to, but because her hands remembered. She told me, "This is how I pray now. I let my hands speak what my mouth cannot." Your gift, whatever it is, will awaken when karma no longer clouds your clarity. Lesson 4. Your presence begins to heal others. There's a sacred shift that happens when your karmic energy transforms. You no longer need to do healing work. You become healing without speaking, without effort. You walk into a room and others feel safe. You sit beside someone and their anxiety quiets. You offer silence and it becomes a sanctuary. This is the highest expression of your awakened self, not a role, not a healer, not a teacher. Just a being whose light is no longer dimmed by debris. I remember a young monk who once asked, "Master, how do I heal others?" I replied, "First, do not try, then become clear. The rest will happen on its own." You see, you don't give healing, you carry it. When karma clears, your aura becomes medicine. No certification required, just truth. If you feel your gifts rising lately, if you dream vividly, if you suddenly feel the urge to create, to serve, to speak truth, to step into unknown spaces, then your soul is no longer in repayment, it is an expression. This is sacred, but do not rush, do not force the flower to bloom, just water it. Daily with presence, with stillness, with faith. Final reflection, from cleansing to creating, there will come a moment not with fireworks, but in stillness, when you realize you are no longer healing, you are now building. You are no longer apologizing for who you were, you are standing tall in who you have become. That's when you know the debt has ended, the path is open, the soul is free. But what comes next? That is the question we must now ask together. In our next chapter, we will talk about the next stage, your divine assignment. What happens when you are not just clear but called? You didn't just come here to survive karma, you came to carry light, to awaken others, to rebuild this world, one soul at a time, and that calling begins now. When the soul is free, it begins to search, not for comfort, not for distraction, but for purpose. Because once karmic debt is cleared, the fog lifts and the question becomes impossible to ignore. Why am I still here? And not just here, on this earth, but here, now, in this time, in this age. In this chaos, in this awakening. The soul, once free, does not seek escape, it seeks assignment. It yearns to serve, to uplift, to give what it once could not while weighed down by old pain. Today, we speak not of healing, but of becoming the one who heals, not because it is your obligation, but because it is your natural state. Let's walk deeper into this truth. Lesson 1. The calling is not always loud, contrary to what the world teaches. Your divine assignment may not arrive as lightning. It may not shout. It may not announce itself with angels or visions or miracles. Sometimes, it's a quiet pull, a repeated nudge, a whisper that says, "You're meant to do this." A man once visited our monastery and asked me, "How do I know if I have a divine purpose?" I asked him, "What is the thing you cannot ignore anymore?" He paused, then answered, "I feel pain when I see people left behind." I told him, "Then your gift is presence, and your assignment is compassion." It doesn't need to be grand. It just needs to be true. Lesson 2. Purpose is remembered, not found. Many people wander through life asking, "What's my purpose?" But the better question is, what has always called to me, even when I was too afraid to answer? Because the truth is, you already know. It was the dream you had as a child. It was the subject that stirred your spirit. It was the suffering you endured, which shaped your strength. When karma is active, your vision is clouded, but once that karma clears, what was blurry becomes crystal. A former soldier once came to our temple, haunted, angry, ashamed. He had done things he could not speak of, but after a year of silence, sweat, and prayer, he began helping wounded animals in the nearby forests. One day he said, "This is my redemption." "No," I told him, "this is your remembering." Your soul always longed to protect life, not end it. You don't find your purpose like a lost item, you remember it after forgetting who you are for a while. Lesson 3. Your divine assignment will always include other share. Is something important to understand. Purpose is never just about you. Yes, you heal. Yes, you grow. Yes, you awaken, but your divine assignment will always ripple outward. It is not for the ego. It is not for glory. It is for the collective. A young woman once told me, "I want to write books that change lives." I said, "Then write from your wounds, not your wisdom." For people trust the truth more than they trust perfection, and she did. Her words helped women all over the world find voice. Not because she was an expert, but because she had survived you. See, your divine assignment is not born from your success. It is born from your story. Lesson 4. Resistance is a sign you're close to know. Listen closely. The closer you move toward your true path, the more resistance will appear. Old fears resurface. People question your change. You question your worth. You wonder if the path is real. This is the soul's final test, not to turn back, but to walk forward despite trembling. Resistance is not a warning, it is confirmation. A monk once confessed to me, "I feel unworthy to teach." I told him, "Good, that means your ego has stepped aside. Now let your soul speak." Purpose is not ego in costume. It is service dressed in simplicity. So if you feel resistance, welcome it. It means you're finally approaching the work you were born for. You who are listening, you are not ordinary, and your life is not random. You are a bridge between what was and what is becoming. You are a thread in the great tapestry of awakening, a gentle guide in a world that forgot how to slow down. Don't wait to be ready. Don't wait for a perfect sign. Your readiness is in your willingness, and the world is waiting for what only you can bring. Final reflection: the earth needs you awake. There are millions walking asleep. You have awakened, and now it is time to step forward, not perfectly, but intentionally. Your purpose doesn't need applause, it needs consistency, it needs humility, it needs presence. The earth does not need more noise, it needs more quiet. Power, and that is what you are becoming. In our next and final teaching before the closing message, we will walk into the final doorway, how to live a life beyond karma where peace, purpose, and presence become one. Where you no longer react from old wounds, you create from new light. Because awakening was never the end goal, it was only the beginning. To awaken is sacred, but to live awakened, that is the true path, because the world does not need more beings who speak of freedom, it needs those who embody it. Today, we enter the final stage of our soul's clearing, living beyond karma, not as an idea, not as a concept, but as a daily practice, a sacred rhythm. You see, freedom is not a moment, it is a discipline, a way of breathing, of walking, of choosing over and over again. We have journeyed through signs of karmic clearing, we've explored soul contracts, divine assignments. Now we ask, how do I maintain this sacred state without slipping backward? Let us walk that answer together. Lesson 1. Freedom must be chosen again and again. Some believe that once karma clears, life will suddenly become effortless. But the truth is more subtle, more profound. Freedom is not the absence of challenge. It is the awareness that you are not bound by challenge. A disciple once asked me, "Master, why do old thoughts still return if my karma is healed?" And I answered, because the mind has memory, but you are no longer its prisoner. Living beyond karma means seeing the storm and not becoming it. It means hearing the old voices and choosing silence instead. Your karma may be gone, but your choice remains. Will you choose the old path of fear or the new path of clarity? You must choose daily, sometimes moment to moment, and that is the path of the awakened one. Lesson 2. Simplicity is sacred power once karma clears. Many people rush into doing. They believe they must serve, build, achieve, change the world. But listen carefully, the awakened soul is not driven by urgency, it is guided by simplicity. You don't need to become someone new. You need to return to the essence you buried beneath layers of noise. In our monastery, we often say, the most awakened monk is not the one who chants the loudest, but the one who listens most deeply. To live beyond karma means you slow down, you speak less, but with more weight, you act less, but with more intention. Your life becomes a quiet revolution, and that simplicity is your greatest strength. Lesson 3. Presence becomes your temple in the old karmic state. We seek temples outside ourselves, books, gurus, teachers, shrines, but when you live beyond karma, you realize presence is your only true temple. Every step is a prayer, every meal is communion, every conversation is a sermon. A man once asked me, "Do I need to meditate more now that I've cleared my karma?" I replied, "If your breath is sacred, you are always meditating. If your presence is pure, you are always worshiping." To live beyond karma is not to retreat from life, it is to enter life fully, without being consumed by it. This is the sacred paradox. You become still not by withdrawing, but by expanding. You are not above the world, you are now of it, but untouched by its chaos. Lesson 4. Your life becomes the teaching. Final sign of living beyond karma is this. You no longer need to teach with words. Your life becomes the teaching. People watch how you walk through challenge, how you handle rejection, how you love without possession, how you serve without seeking recognition. A monk once told me, "I no longer feel the need to correct others," and I smiled. You have transcended the need to be right. You are now simply true. You don't convert people, you remind them through your being of what is already within them. Your peace becomes their permission. Your silence becomes their signal. Your example becomes their mirror. That is how the awakened walk through this world, not preaching, but being. To live beyond karma is not to ascend into the clouds, it is to root yourself so deeply in peace that not even the storm can shake you. It is to walk through the fire and not burn, to enter the battlefield and not fight, to stand in chaos and not absorb it. It is to become the calm in the center of the storm. And from that center, you carry the presence of God, of Source, of the eternal. Not as a title, but as a lived truth. Final reflection, your presence is the medicine the world needs. You are no longer here to fix yourself. You are here to live fully from your healed essence. You are no longer here to search. You are here to remember, and you are no longer here to carry karma, you are here to carry light. But this journey does not end with you. In our final conversation together, we will speak of the legacy you leave behind, the impact of your awakened life, how your vibration affects the collective, how your story becomes part of the Earth's new chapter. Because freedom is not just for the self, it is a gift to be offered to the next soul who stumbles in the dark, and your light will be their path. The awakened soul does not end with itself. It becomes a ripple, subtle yet unstoppable, moving through families, communities, generations, and in that ripple, a legacy is born, not of status, but of stillness, not of empire, but of essence. You see, the highest purpose of awakening is not just freedom from karma, but to offer light into the karmic patterns of the collective. You do not just walk alone anymore, you walk for those behind you, for those still lost in the fog, still chasing illusions, still clinging to pain they cannot name. Your breath becomes their anchor, your silence becomes their balm. Your story becomes their path. Let me tell you a story. The story of the silent healer. There was once a monk who never spoke in public. He did not teach. He did not write. He only tended the monastery gardens. For decades, he rose before dawn. He swept the paths. He blessed the earth. He whispered prayers to the roots of trees. Many novices passed by him, dismissing his silence as irrelevance. But those who lingered near him for even a few minutes felt peace return to their chest, felt answers rise from within them, felt the ground beneath them speak. When he passed away, not a single sermon was recorded, not a single doctrine written. Yet over 2,000 students traced their awakening back to the feeling of standing in his presence. This is the silent ripple of the awakened life. You don't always know the impact you're having, but the vibration you carry speaks louder than any word. Lesson 1. Your vibration is your voice in a world drowning in noise. The awakened soul becomes a quiet frequency, one that heals without asking, guides without instructing, loves without possessing. You do not have to convince anyone of your path. You do not need approval. Truth, once embodied, speaks for itself. Your smile becomes a doorway. Your stillness becomes a refuge, and your life becomes a message that transcends language. Never underestimate the power of simply being. For those living in chaos, your calm is medicine. For those drowning in speed, your slowness is sacred. Lesson 2. The flame you tend will light the world. Many ask, what can I do? I am only one person. But let me offer you this truth. One awakened soul shifts the karma of 7 generations forward and 7 generations backward. You are not just healing for yourself. You are healing for ancestors who prayed for freedom they never found, and for descendants who will never know your name, but will carry your peace in their blood. So tend the fire within you, even when no one sees it, even when the world forgets your efforts. For this sacred flame is not just yours to keep, it is yours to pass forward. Lesson 3. You become the earth's living prayer. In our final truth today, I share this: when karma ends, when the cycle breaks, when you live in awareness moment to moment, you become more than a person. You become a prayer in motion, a living chant, a breath of God, a vessel of presence. Your feet bless the ground they walk on. Your words are fewer, but laced with the silence of eternity. Your gaze carries oceans of compassion. The earth, tired and aching, listens for beings like you who no longer take from her, but bless her with every step. The collective is not healed through mass speeches. It is healed through individual embodiment. You are the medicine. You are the healing. You are the next beginning. So now, my beloved listener, you know, you remember. You were never here to survive this life. You were here to transcend it, not by leaving the world, but by entering it differently. With presence, with peace, with stillness, with truth. This is the path beyond karma. This is the soul's real work. And this is the legacy you carry forward. You no longer need to seek a higher place. You have become the temple, and as you walk, your light will awaken the sleeping, your breath will soften the hardened, your love will shift the timeline of the earth itself. You are the prayer. You are the legacy. The next and final step will be the full closing reflection, a sacred monologue to bring this series into stillness. We'll conclude with the final blessing, a deep invocation to seal the soul's journey into full embodiment. So here we are, dear one, you've walked with me through 7 sacred doors. each one opening into a new space within you, each one stripping away what is false and revealing what is eternal. And now, we are at the threshold not of an ending, but of a profound beginning. You are no longer bound by karmic repetition. You no longer carry the same heaviness. You've remembered who you are, not the body, not the story, not the wound, but the witness, the awareness, the light. Let us reflect, not with more teachings, but with silence, and in this silence, may you receive. 3. You are never alone. This path can feel solitary, but the moment you remember the divine in every breath, you walk with all beings who have ever awakened. We are with you, the unseen monks, the angels of silence, the ancestors who prayed for your peace. We walk beside you even now. Final words from my soul to yours. If you take nothing else from this journey, remember this: your life is not something to fix. It is something to honor. Let go of perfection. Let go of proving. Just return to your breath. Return to the moment. Return to yourself, because you are the miracle. You are the prayer the earth has waited for. You are the stillness beneath the storm. You are the echo of the sacred. Now living, now breathing, now becoming. Walk in peace. Speak in light. And when you forget, return to silence, where your soul still remembers. Namaste. I bow to the light you are. Your karma is cleared. Now live as light. The monk's final blessing. This is not just the end of a video. It's the beginning of your sacred new life. Over the course of 7 pages, we walked with the monk through stillness, karma, rebirth, and awakening. Now, you stand on the other side, clear, light, and alive. If this journey has touched your soul, please like, share, and subscribe so others can begin their own healing. Turn on notifications to never miss another sacred message. Drop a comment below. I walk in light if this video spoke to you deeply. Share this with someone who is ready to awaken. Let this be the ripple. Let this be the light. May peace walk with you, always.